Man, I tell you what, so we just got out of the theater and from watching Blue Beetle. This is the spoiler review. Now, a couple of days back, I dropped the non-spoiler review and I gave my Know-It-All Index rating there, but now we're gonna get Mrs. Know-It-All's Know-It-All Index rating and we're gonna talk deep dive into it. So stick around because right now, we're gonna talk Blue Beetle, but before that, do me a favor, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel grow organically, but I know one thing, I am ready. I'm ready, that's it. Let's get into this. Okay, so short version. It's a movie, man. A lot of stuff to talk about.
Wait.
Yeah.
I know nothing of Blue Beetle.
Okay.
All right.
That's
let's
fair.
just start right there.
No, that's fair.
Never heard of him. Don't know who he is until he gets all excited saying, "Oh my gosh, they're making a Blue Beetle movie," and then that's all I heard. And then here it is. Boom, it's here. So I know nothing. I'm going in. I know a little background about when the comics appeared and stuff, but.
So I'm a comic book guy, and I go back a ways. But at the end of the day, the Jaime Reyes character, I didn't really get a chance to know much about him. He came out after I had sort of shifted out of comics on a hardcore basis. Mm-hmm. And so little by little, I saw his introduction in Infinite Crisis and whatnot, which we talked about in the Things to Know video. And it was one of those things where I knew, I was like, oh, there's Ted Kord, who doesn't have superpowers, but is just kind of like a poor man's Iron Man. And then there's this guy who has an alien scarab on his back, or something along those lines. Yeah. So the idea of the Jaime Reyes version of the character, until they announced the movie was coming out, I didn't know anything much about. Now, obviously, as I said, talked about in my non-spoiler review, my real life last name is the family I was born to is Reyes. And so this had a really close, affectionate place for me, and now we can deep dive and talk about some of this stuff. The movie starts pretty much right where you might think in terms of an origin story, and by the way, that's what this fully is. Golly, I'm gonna be all over the road, but it's okay. I'm okay. I'm so excited because again, we just watched this thing.
I wouldn't let him talk about anything else except for this movie.
So I wanted to make sure that I was ready to discuss it. But no, so Jaime Reyes, the movie starts with him getting home from college, and the family's all there, and family is a huge through line in this movie. Like, I feel like this movie single-handedly hit the family note harder and better than any of the Fast and Furious movies.
I was gonna say that. Why are you stealing my stuff?
Right?
No, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah.
It was unreal. Everybody. So Sholomé Zwana played. You guys know him from
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai. He's one of the. Actually, I think he was the lead, and still is kind of the. He was the main character. Yeah, we were following.
We still like him.
Right, and he is unbelievable in this. So I guess backstory a little bit. Blue Beetle was supposed to be originally an HBO Max series.
Oh. And
someone up the pipeline saw it and saw either a version of it or saw sort of preliminary stuff and was like, this is epic enough to make it a feature. Why aren't we doing that? And so they shifted gears and they made it an actual movie. And
I'm glad they did.
Same.
Because I don't know.
Same.
Yeah. I was able. Throughout the movie. Well, keep going.
So his family is all worried, and because there's a ton of different news, and they don't know who to share what with, and so what ends up happening is when they finally get home, they share. Belisa Escobedo plays his sister, and she is unbelievable. Escobedo is unbelievable, and she is so convincing in several points, in several parts, that it's just unreal. And so it's so funny. She's the one, I guess, the family realizes, you can make good news sound like it's something bad or whatever. And so literally, as he gets home from college to find out they're losing the house, because Kord is calling in there. Kord Industries plays a big part. Mm-hmm.
And you see Kord Industries stuff throughout the entire opening. You see whether it be he's flying in, he's on the bus, he's arriving at the airport. You see that they're all over the place.
Yeah. So the whole thing takes place in a fictitious DC city, like most of the other heroes do. I think they even say it in the movie. Like Superman has Metropolis, Batman's got Gotham, the Flash is in Central City, and Blue Beetle's always been in what's called Palmyra City. Palmyra City in the comics is usually someplace located in Texas. Now, judging by the way this is done, I'm thinking it's probably much more coastal than that, because this feels like they're right there on the border of Mexico / it's got a very Florida, Miami vibe.
I was going to say, I felt like it was, very
So one of the things they do is he realizes his family is losing their house. They've already lost their business, and his father apparently, while he was away at college, had a stroke or a minor heart attack.
Heart attack, yeah.
And he's like, why didn't I know any of this?
Can you imagine coming home from college and being like, by the way, this is all what's going on? I mean, I guess I see why families do that,
Totally.
but man, talk about like,
don't panic, it's gonna be okay.
it's gonna be fine.
Oh, unbelievable. George Lopez, God love him. One of my best friend and I, we love George Lopez. I've loved him for years.
Oh, do
Since
they ever?
the George Lopez show back in the day. We've seen all his stand-ups, I mean, everything. And it's such an interesting role for him because he plays this very conspiracy theory type guy. He's this very cholo conspiracy theory, but he's also a brilliant mechanic.
Yeah, you can tell he's smart. So when he has like these conspiracy theories, you're kind of thinking then he's really intelligent. So he's probably onto something along some of those lines.
No, for sure. So Jaime decides he's like, don't worry, I'm going to get a good job. I just got back from school. He hasn't gone to grad school. He's a
pre-law.
Yeah, pre-law, or as his sister says in one scene.
Pre-lawyer.
It's right, pre-lawyer. And so he goes. Of course, she gets him a job at this resort that's owned by Cord Industries, and you get to see Victoria Cord, played by Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon, by the way,
she plays such a great slimy villain.
Cool
she
villain.
Really does.
I haven't seen her in a while, and I'm very happy to see the stuff she's been doing. And in terms of her being such a bad guy, like she's chewing the scenery hardcore.
Oh yeah.
And so there's this encounter between Victoria and her niece. That's Bruno Marquezina's character, who she plays the daughter of Ted Cord, Jenny Cord. And she's on the board honorarily or whatever, but the Susan Sarandon character, Victoria, she's like the CEO. And she's trying to do this weapon. She brings in, DC fans will recognize, the OMAC armor. OMAC is a cyborg character created by Jack Kirby back in the day. So you get to see this. So they name drop that. There's all kinds of stuff being name dropped. The other thing is, even though Ted Cord isn't in this movie, just like I said in my non-spoiler review, he very much is felt. And by that I mean, it's not only Cord Industries everywhere, but like his daughter is, I mean, just so much of him. And
because I don't know much, I learned a whole lot in a few of the scenes that were there, actually, that they portrayed of him.
Unreal. It was so good. So good.
Or even when they're on the Beetle itself.
Oh, that's right, the Beetle. You get to see the Beetle. You get to see his uniforms and outfits. It's stupid cool. There's a brief scene right after he says what he's going to do where Susan Sarandon, they're finding the thing, whatever it is. They're finding the scarab. And so now you go to, while they're at this resort thing, that encounter happens, it looks like Susan Sarandon's about to have her big dude, this very big bodyguard played by Raul Trujillo. He plays this character of Conrad Carapax, who is already jacked up with like tech. He's got like a cyborg arm and stuff. And so he's you kind of, they sort of telegraph. He's the OMAC, experimental OMAC guy. And so
the prototype.
Yeah, right, the prototype. And there's this, oh my gosh, there's this great moment, whatever. So I don't want to get ahead of myself just yet. So and of course, Jaime's got to step up and he's like, hey, what's going on here? Embarrassing himself, gets them both fired, him and his sister. So as they're walking out.
But he doesn't know anything. He was protecting her almost.
Dude, totally being the hero guy. But it's like Mr. White shining armor on a horse, whatever. And so she catches up to him as he's walking out and she says, hey, I'm really sorry about that. She gives him her phone number, says, just text me, come by, I'll help you get another job if I can. And he's like, okay, cool. The next day, and his family's like, oh my God, the most supportive family ever in the history of ever. They drop him off at his interview like
he's being dropped off at his first, it was probably worse for his first day of college. I can only imagine the Reyes family show dropping off this boy at college.
Totally.
If this is how they did it for an interview.
Oh my gosh. And so he goes in and then they cut to, you see Jenny, who she's snuck into this area, the secret kind of experimental area where they have the scarab. And she grabs the scarab, she puts it in a Big Belly Burger box. Big Belly Burger, for those of you DC fans, you've seen Big Belly Burger in everything, including and especially The Flash and all the Arrow shows on the Arrow and the CW. Big Belly Burger is one of those staples that, as many of you again know from the comics, that's the one constant in the multiverse, is apparently everyone has a Big Belly Burger. It's their McDonald's.
That's what you were saying. And I'm like, that adds up. Like, I can see that.
It totally. And so so then she's like, she gives him the box. She says, hey, listen, if you want to do me a favor, you want a job, here, I'll give you one right now. Protect this box. I'll find you and we'll talk, whatever.
With the don't look at it, don't touch it, don't do anything, just hold on to the box.
And of course, so you smash cut to the family standing around the table like, are we going to open it or not? And literally they're like, open it, abrelo, abrelo. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's too funny. So he opens it. And then, as everyone picks it up and looks at it, he picks it up. It gets all like staticky blue electricity and stands up, and then like jumps on his face.
Not just jumps on his face; it blew him back too.
It was crazy. And so
the whole scene of
it throws George Lopez back, and he's screaming. He's like, ah! Totally, it was the best. This thing was unreal, and so then you go through this whole experience where he's dealing with what the suit is doing. He I think you might have seen in the trailers too. He like gets thrown into the ceiling, and the thing starts coming on. It's like this. It's almost like the Venom suit in Marvel, where it's like liquidy, but it's sort of burning everything it touches.
It's like burning off his clothes at the same time.
Everything, and so he's in the outfit. This outfit, and he goes on a test flight, and you hear this voice, that's Becky G, by the way, playing the voice of the Scarab, and so you hear this voice, it's like, testing now, blah, 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 doing this other thing. It chose him. And so he's flying around, and he's like, oh my God, I don't want this thing, and he goes to find Jenny, only to, oh, by the way, this is the part in this thing where the suit trying to protect him, because you find out that's its job, he splits a bus. Which felt like the most destructive thing you could possibly be.
You would think.
Yeah, I was just blown. I was like, what is this going on?
And he's apologizing the entire time.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. And so finally, he manages to find Jenny. Jenny's being attacked by the guy, what's his face? He's in like a discount version of the OMAC suit. And so what does he do? He puts the suit on, goes to protect her, and the whole time, this suit kicks butt. This suit creates all kinds of swords and guns and everything, and he's trying to tell it, don't kill. Apparently his family didn't get the memo. Because I'm going to tell you right now, everybody, no, for real. This family later on, when the chips are down, they're wasting everybody. Nobody's safe from La Familia Reyes, okay? For real. God, this movie is so much. It's all the everythings. And so the whole point of this thing is he's trying to discover he wants to get it off. Finally, she manages to say, listen, I can try to help, come. And they go to Ted Kord's house, the mansion, the Kord estate. And she manages to steal his old Ted Kord watch, call back to the comics. And he activates the key to get into his underground bunker area, his bat cave, if you will, or the Beetle cave, if you want. And it's got, they give you comic accurate versions of the original Blue Beetle suit that Ted Kord wore. Both of them. The one from the 40s and the original 40s, and the one from the later 80s and 90s run, who's the current Ted Kord that we know today. And the basic gist of it is Ted was never selected, which is all canon for the comics. But he was essentially this universe's Iron Man, and that he wanted to still help and be a superhero, and he made up all the suits and stuff and did things, and then he just one day disappeared. So of course they brought George Lopez with him, and the uncle is Uncle Rudy. Uncle Rudy Reyes is going. He's working his way and figures out they can get.
That's where you realize he's brilliant.
Absolutely, he figures out they can get the Scarab off of him, but he's going to have to be dead. Because that's the only way. And so the thing is becoming symbiotic, and you start to get that idea because Jaime, he's healing a little bit. He knows things about the Scarab and its history because they're starting to be able to be simpatico in terms of understanding each other.
Knew her name.
Yeah, knew the Scarab's name immediately. As they're up on the roof, you see the helicopter go heading toward the Edge Keys. And Edge Keys is the name of the town, like the rundown East LA style town that they live in on the outskirts of Palmyra City. And Palmyra City is the big, nice hologram billboards and the whole 9 yards. And so he is like, I gotta go help. And so he's trying to get the suit to do something. It won't do nothing. So then he realizes, oh, okay. And runs off the roof because it's the suit's gonna protect him. It comes on, he goes. Mm-hmm. The whole family is set at the house. The police, who by the way, are run by Cord Industries, bust in. They've got guns pointing at everything. Everything's going crazy. That's when Jaime shows up. And man, he whoops these guys' butts.
Yes.
I was so excited for what a great job he did. I was just blown away, man. It was unbelievable the level to which they as he's fighting everybody. That's when in the helicopter, what's her face, Victoria, Susan Sarandon, is amazed because she's like, we need to get as much data as possible. Because remember, they're trying to build their discount version in the OMAC suit. Because it's the same idea. The scarab attached to your back, the OMAC suit, same nonsense and does things, but they're just missing something. He sees his family needs help and he's going to help them, so he turns his back and they shoot him with this electro thing that short circuits the scarab and so his helmet comes off and then he gets dragged away.
Tell him what distracts him. Okay, because this is it. This is what did it for.
This is the first time I cried. After I realizing the family's name. Damien Alcazar plays Alberto Reyes, who's the father and the patriarch of the family, and Alberto is he has a heart attack. The stress of everything and whatnot, and Jaime gets dragged off, and the family's there trying their best to, and you have this amazing moment where everybody, oh my God, the actress who plays his sister,
Melissa.
She was so good.
I felt like, to me, it got to me when she was sobbing so hard over her father. I thought that was definitely her father. Like, that was her real life father. This is a real life situation. She did an amazing job on that. That whole scene was just very. You felt the pain of each person that was there because he's watching it all happen as he's being dragged away. Yeah. And now they think you felt every emotion in that.
Yeah, it was unreal. And so and of course he dies. And there's this wonderful moment where the ambulances have left, the house is smoldering, everybody's sad, and Nana, grandma, abuelita, steps up, bro. And she, out of nowhere, she's like, we have to rescue Jaime. There'll be time to cry later. We gotta rescue him. And she's speaking in Spanish, and she's like, you gotta get this, you gotta do this, and we gotta go rescue this. And they're like, who are you? And you come to find out, she was a rebel, man.
Yeah, she was taking the
back in the day.
Down.
She liked to fight. She was a rebel.
And apparently her family did not know this.
Bro.
Because then they get on the Beetle.
I believe that's raw. Later on, there's a series to get on the Beetle and they show the guns and stuff. And she's like, everyone's like, what's this one? What's this one? What's this one? Belisa gets this little hologram shield thing that also makes a fist. And then George Lopez gets to drive the thing in general. And then Abuelita turns around. She's like, you're like, oh. And she's ready. She's like, one day I'll tell you my backstory. You're like, oh my God.
She lays out the whole plan to rescue him. Like, she knows, she's zooming in.
They have a hologram thing.
The hologram, she's flipping it up and down, and we're like, who?
She's like, we need to go in, get down to the basement. Once you're in the basement, and she's like giving like strategic orders. I'm like, let's go, Grandma.
Now, before this all happened, all you saw her do was watch television and sew.
And while she's sewing, she's listening to Spanish hip hop.
Yeah.
That was it. So nothing else. You're like, oh, she's cool.
Typical, this.
Absolutely. No, she's definitely, she's abuela, and then you find out abuela has history. And I'm like, bro. Or as Baby Noda would say, abuela was definitely slay.
Yes.
It's one of those times where you're just like, wow. And the family dynamic never seemed fake, contrived, or kitschy. Here's the thing. If it feels fake to you, you don't come from that kind of family. Because I feel like in another universe, my family would be that family. I feel like my grandmother would be the first one saying, hey, what do we got to do? Strap up, let's figure this out. I feel like my mother would be right there. I feel like my cousins, my family, my uncles, whatever, like we would all come to, it's unbelievable. And so they
Your
get,
aunt.
for real. So then Jenny shows up and she's like, I can help. I got it. And that's when they go into the beetle, this big, and it's straight out of the comics. It looks like a giant beetle bug thing.
It's so ugly. It's adorable.
It is amazing.
It's awesome.
And so then they go and meanwhile, Susan Sarandon has taken Jaime and she's got him all strapped up. There's this other local guy named Sanchez who's the scientist helping them, and he's like the whole time he's like, oh, the kid's gonna die. We gotta try this is going on. And at some point, they're downloading the code from the suit, the Scarab suit, into the OMAC stuff so that she can understand. That code will unlock how to make the OMAC suit do what it's supposed to do. Ideally, what it was originally designed to do, which would be a clone of the Scarab.
Which I would think would be difficult to do because since this type of technology, it has to know who you are. I don't know. Why would you just, it's like, I feel like it's like sticking a DVD into a VHS player, a VCR.
It's like, yeah, absolutely. And so ultimately they end up what they end up doing is as the family arrives, that thing is armored and that thing is bulletproof, and they are wasting fools just stomping through. They finally go, everyone drops down, and it's Jenny and his sister Milagro who are going through the tunnels, and they're attacking fools and fighting stuff, and they're getting to the place where they need to get to blow up the energy. And she sees Susan Sarandon's got this OMAC factory ready to be pumped full of the code of this, and she's like, oh my God, she can make hundreds if not thousands. It was, no, it really was. And so finally they managed to finish the code. Jaime is in like his own mind, like a mindscape place, and you get this really heartwarming moment where he gets to see the spirit of his father. Whether or not it's real or not, I believe it was supposed to be the spirit of his father, genuinely. And his father tells him, "This is the moment I was for. This is your moment. You need to go." And you see in this mindscape, the world around him is crumbling, representative of the world he's been living in. And you see the blue beetle Scarab suit floating through the space, and he's like, "You need to go and you be who you're supposed to be." And so he runs as the rest of his life is destroyed, and he jumps at the thing, and they show, Sanchez in the science place shows the brainwaves matching up, and once they get synced up, they've reached full symbiosis. And when that happens, Jaime wakes up, he manages to get out of the suit, or get out of the thing that's locked him up in, and he's about to escape. Meanwhile, dude has thrown I say dude, forgive me, the OMAC suit guy has fully charged up, and he's starting to transform much like the Blue Beetle does. So it's all burning on his skin and stuff. And what?
No, go ahead.
And becoming this really scary looking, it looks very much like the OMAC suit from the comics, which is cool.
And right before this is important because right before the transition, he dropped a locket.
Right. And you see a woman and a kid. Immediate assumption
and
being
slimy Victoria.
Right, picks it up, and the assumption we thought immediately was like, oh, it must be his wife and kid.
Yeah.
You find out later it's not, because the suit, as they're fighting, because it connected to him, unlocks his memories. You find out this guy started out as a child, and Victoria and her people and her thugs like carpet bombed his village, find him in the rubble, bring him as a test case, whatever, and a whole bunch of other kids while they're testing this stuff on them. And they've little by little been messing with his head, and so he didn't remember any of this stuff. So now they've unlocked those things. Anyways, but he's fighting these, so he's ready to fight. Meanwhile, Jaime, the family finds each other, everyone's going around, it's all chaos. And the suit at one point is trying to help him defend himself, and find the suit's like, I can't help you anymore because dude's just beating on him. And so he has to fight aggressive. The suit's still enhancing him, giving him all the cool stuff, but it can't
protect as much anymore. The almost like regeneration.
Right, is a little broken.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the end of that particular battle, it's so funny. They pay off something that happened earlier, and it's totally big bad OMAC guy. Victoria's all but lost. And so what does he do? He's like for the greater good, sacrifices must be made, which is a line she had said throughout their history together, and he remembered it. So he says it to her, and he tells Jaime, "Go ahead and go." And because Jaime's ready to kill him, but the suit stops him. The suit stops him and is like, "No, we don't do that." Because now that they're in sync, because the suit originally was like, I have to protect you, blah, blah, you know. And sure enough, so then now that the suit is synced with him, it knows he's not a killer and stops him. So that mercy allows Dude to realize and understand that they know they all understand each other, and then he drags Susan Sarandon into the fire, sets his suit up to explode, blows the whole island up. Back home, Jenny takes over. Jaime and his family come back from clearly a funeral. The whole neighborhood shows up. It's very much that feel. She shows up and she's like, "Yeah, don't worry. We're gonna rebuild your house. We're gonna give you your help. This, that." She's like, "And I want you to be in charge of some." She tells George Lopez she got him a new truck. He's so funny. He's stupid funny. And then of course it ends with them because she's kind of love interest with Jaime, but they sort of been maybe will they won't they sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it ends really well with them blasting off, and you get these two cool buttons. Well, one cool button, the other one, I don't know, whatever.
It was just there.
There's an end credit scene. Feel free to watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. But there's a mid credit scene where in Ted Kord's bunker, the computers all start to come back on, and you see this really messed up and a warbled voice. It's like, "Hello, whoever turned my computer on, get a message to my daughter. Tell her I'm alive." Ted Kord apparently is alive. I'm firmly of the mindset the sequel to this movie is going to be either the rescuing of Ted Kord or whatever. You find something out. This could be an opportunity to bring in Buster Gold also. But so yeah, man, there you go. Now you know. If knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. What's the know-it-all index for me for this movie? Now we're going to talk a little bit about it. But the know-it-all index for me, as I said before, for those of you who skipped my non-spoiler, I'm going to reiterate here. For me, this movie is a solid 9.5. It is a 9.5 all day long. It just I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but I feel like I need to keep that as a plateau that things need to strive for. So I'm blown away by this. What is your take?
It was 9. 9, and I can see why yours would be. I'm hesitant for that half point because I wanted to like Flash.
Sure.
And that let me down.
No,
so I kind of was like, I'll give it a 9. I'll give it a 9. Because DC's starting to...
Yes!
I'm really getting excited about DC right now.
Dude. Amidst the chaos that's happening with the Marvel stuff and the disappointment we've been finding, I was really surprised by this.
And from what I heard, this is also a pre-James Gunn movie.
It's one of the last ones. I think the order they're coming out in is wrong. I think Aquaman should have come out first or whatever, timing wise. But anyway, so we still have Aquaman to look forward to. I say look forward to, but this movie, I believe, because he's already intimated that this easily can roll into the new DC.
They're all brand new.
Right.
Everything about this is a brand new story that DC hasn't told yet. So
this felt to me like a Phase 1 Marvel movie, and I said that in my non-spoiler review. It felt like a Phase 1 Marvel movie. It felt like this has and I remember I leaned over at one point and I said to Mrs. Know-It-All, this could easily be the Iron Man of the DCU. By that I mean it's an initial movie that sets a tone. It felt right. All the pieces came together, and I'm very excited for that. I don't know why, I don't know how, I don't know what the backstory is, but I'm jazzed. For people who talk about, it's superhero fatigue, superhero whatever, bro.
No, it's just better writing. And newer faces. Not that older faces are bad, but they're newer faces, especially to me.
I had a discussion with my best friend, who's a Dominican good friend of mine, and I am myself Puerto Rican. And we talking, and he was all like, "Oh, look, you're sounding like one of those woke people." And I was like, "Look, bro, I don't know how to say this, but representation matters. In that, I was blown away by how good this movie was, and only made better by the fact that I saw my family in that family. Forget the fact that we share the last name Reyes, but at the same time, that family dynamic is one I grew up with. I recognized all those characters. I recognized Grandma. I recognized the uncle, the crazy uncle. Please, okay, trust me, my tío Carmelo, you know what I'm talking about. And but not just him, but like other, trust me, they're all crazy. And it's just unbelievable. I texted my mom. I said, Mama Know-It-All, you got to take Grandma Know-It-All to go see this, and then tell her I insisted. So because it's unbelievable, this movie. She doesn't go to movies.
And she'll go just because you said so.
Absolutely. And so yeah, man. Please comment below. Let me know what you thought. I would really love to know.
We got in the car after the movie, and I go, I think I'm a Blue Beetle fan. I don't know what else to say.
Right?
And I know nothing of it. I'm glad I came into this not knowing anything about Blue Beetle. Something that I think Baby Know-It-All with Boyfriend Know-It-All can go see, and I think they'll come out Blue Beetle fans. So,
oh my gosh.
I want to go see this in the theater again.
I want to go back.
Like, I'll spend the money to do it again.
It has been forever since a movie made me feel like that. I honestly think the last one that made me feel like that was Endgame. I wanted to go back and see it again. I wanted to.
We did. We went back a couple times to see Endgame.
And then when they re-released it briefly with that special release, I went again. And so I'm like, yeah, I want to go. Like, truthfully, I want to go. I'll probably go see it tomorrow or whenever. But I know that I went and I'm an AMC Stubs member, so we went to our local AMC and we watched it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to pay more money now to go see this movie. Like, I was ready to go see it again. So yeah, man, comment below. Let me know your thoughts if you've already seen the movie. I hope you enjoyed the spoiler review. I know it went a little bit longer than my normal videos, but yeah, man, it was exciing talking about it.
I'm just getting used to the new studio. It's the first time I've been in this studio since we moved, so I didn't have much to say on that.
No, I appreciate
How does my voice sound in here?
You look amazing.
Well, thank you, guys.
I know. So I can't wait to see all of the stuff you guys have to say about it. We'll talk very soon. Never forget.
Everyone loves a know-it-all.
Bye, guys.
Bye.